Hello, good morning students, and welcome back once again to another video for the class 10 light chapter. In the previous video we studied about the refractive index of a medium compared to another one, and we also talked about absolute refractive index. Let's talk about that for a bit. So when we are talking about refractive index of one medium in respect to another medium, we are comparing its velocities, okay, and its formula was refractive index of a second medium with respect to first medium is equal to velocity of light in medium 1 upon velocity of light in medium 2. Velocity of light in medium 2. So when we put the values of the velocities of light in this formula, in the first medium we write it on top, and in the second medium, for which we have to find the refractive index, we will write that velocity in the denominator, and then we find the ratio. So when we find the ratio, it will be constant, okay, which means that whenever we are finding the value of sin I upon sin r, if you remember Snell's law, sin I upon sin r, then this constant will remain same for different values of angle of incidence and angle of refraction. The other thing is that if both the velocities are same, then this ratio will be 1. That means there is no change in the medium. Medium 1 and medium 2, they both are relatively same. Okay, so it doesn't make a difference. But if the ratio is more than 1, that means the second medium is a denser medium. And if the ratio is less than 1, it means that the first medium is denser and the second medium in which the ray of light is entering is a lesser medium or a rarer medium. Okay. So if the ratio is greater than 1, then the second medium in which the ray of light is entering is a denser medium. And if the ratio is less than 1, which means that the second medium is a rarer medium compared to the first medium. Okay. Now we move on to a very important part and activity regarding the refraction of light. Okay, and this activity is asked in the board examinations many times. That is refraction of light through a glass slab. Refraction through a glass slab. This is a glass slab. Okay, it is quite thick and a very denser and a clear transparent medium. So we'll talk about how the ray of light enters inside it and how it exits. It is a rectangular glass slab. We will talk about the experiment, imagining a ray of light entering from this side, that is this part, and exiting from this side. Okay. So we place a glass slab like this, and a ray of light is incident on top side like this. So when the ray of light is incident on a glass slab, obviously it is transparent, but it is entering a denser medium because outside is air and inside it is glass. So a solid medium, and therefore it is much more denser medium than the air around it, and therefore whenever a ray of light is entering from a rarer to denser medium, we know that it bends towards the normal. So at this point we imagine a normal, that is a perpendicular line segment or a line. Okay, and because it is supposed to go this way, I am marking a dotted line because that is its original path. But now it will bend and it will go in this direction. It will change its path a little bit. Okay. But because this is a glass slab and both the side is transparent, so whenever a light enters the glass slab, refraction takes place 2 times. Once when it enters the glass slab, and the second time when it exits the glass slab. But at this point, this refracted ray of light, this was incident ray, this refracted ray of light, now that becomes an incident ray. Okay, so this is the incident ray and this is the point of incidence, and we are drawing the normal once again. So this is the normal for this point of incidence. Now because this is entering from a denser to rarer medium, it will move away from the normal. So if you look at this, this was the original path where this ray of light was supposed to go. But now it will move away from the normal. So it will go like this. Okay, so ray of light enters, it bends towards the normal, goes this way, then it bends and changes its path away from the normal and goes that way. One thing to notice over here is that its original path, that is this one, and now its new path, they both will be parallel to each other. They both are parallel to each other. Okay, and it has just shifted the path. So before it was going in this direction, now also it is going in the same direction. It has just shifted from its original path. It is going this way again, but now it is parallel to it and going in the same direction, just not on the exact same track. So that is why they both are parallel, and this distance is called lateral shift. How much it is shifted from its original path. Okay? Over here, this is angle of incidence, this is angle of refraction, this is angle of incidence, and this is once again angle of refraction, but we are calling it the angle of emergence because it is emerging from a glass slab. No doubt it is once again angle of refraction because this is incident ray, this is refracted ray. Okay, sorry, one mistake. Angle of refraction is with the normal, angle of incidence will be greater, angle of refraction will be smaller, and when it is making point of incidence on the other part of the glass slab, at that time this refracted ray becomes incident ray and it creates an angle of incidence, and when it is exiting it is going to move away from the normal, and this is the angle of refraction, which is also called angle of emergence, given by E. So whenever in the examination if instead of R it is given E, don't panic, because angle of emergence is because it is emerging from the glass slab, that is why just emergent angle given, otherwise it can also be given as angle of refraction. Now because these two are parallel, one thing to notice over here is that angle of incidence and angle of refraction will be same. Okay? Because when it is entering from a glass slab, okay, and when it is exiting from glass slab to air, before it was air, then glass and air. So it is just a reverse of the original path, and that is why the angle of emergence will be equal to angle of incidence. I hope it is clear to you, students. Let's go through it once again. When a ray of light enters the glass slab, this is the normal, it bends towards the normal. This was its original path, this dotted line over here. This is its original path, this is where it is supposed to go. It bends towards the normal. When it is incident on the other side of the glass slab, now once again it creates point of incidence. This is the normal over here, and this is its new path, but once again it is exiting from the glass slab. So now it is exiting from a denser to a rarer medium, and that is why it is going to move away from the normal, and over here it creates an angle of refraction, which we call it an angle of emergence. Okay, and this is its new path, and it will be parallel to its original path but before entering the glass slab. It will be parallel to its original path. And the difference or the distance between the two parallel path is called lateral shift. That is its original path and its new emergent path. This distance is called lateral shift. I hope it is clear to you, students. Okay, students, so I have a small numerical for you which is related to the glass slab as well as the refractive index that we studied in the previous video. It states that the light enters in a glass slab of refractive index 1.5. Now this is a constant, so there is no unit. Always remember that it is a ratio. If the velocity of light is 3.5 kilometers per second, find the velocity of light in a glass slab. Now if you remember, we studied about velocity of light in class 8 stars in the solar system, in which we studied that the velocity of light is 3 lakh kilometers per second in space or vacuum. Now granted that whenever it enters the atmosphere is still medium, and therefore its velocity changes a little bit, but for the numerical it is given that it is 3 meters, 3 into 10 raised to 5 kilometers per second. So we will take as it is, because it is approximately the same as that in vacuum. Okay, in some numericals it might be given 2.98, but still it is almost the same, because accurately it is 2.98 in air and 3 into 10 raised to 5 kilometers in vacuum. But still, like I said, it is very close, so it is taken as same. Okay, and that is why even in the absolute refractive index, when we are talking about absolute refractive index, at that time velocity of light is either considered to be in air or vacuum. Okay. So this can be considered as the absolute refractive index, and the formula is refractive index of a second medium with respect to first medium, that is velocity of light in medium 1, which is air in this case, upon velocity of light in glass slab. Okay, so I can write over here velocity of light in glass slab with respect to air. Okay, not just mention 2 and 1 in this way. Now this refractive index has been given to you and velocity of light has been given to you. So just substitute the values. This is 1.5, this is 3 into 10 raised to 5. But kilometers per second, we are making it standard meters per second. So multiplying it by 10 raised to power 3, because multiplying it by 1000. So 10 raised to 5 and multiplied by 10 raised to power 3 upon velocity of light in glass slab. So I am just writing V. Okay, cross multiplication, simple. So next step becomes like this. Velocity in glass slab is 3 into 10 raised to power 8 upon 1.5. We all know 1.5 into 2 gives us 3. This gives us 2 into 10 raised to power 8 meters per second. So this is your answer, that velocity of light in glass is 2 into 10 raised to power 8 meters per second. Now as you can see, when it has entered a denser medium, its velocity is affected, because in air it moves much faster and in glass slab it travels or moves much slower than it is. Still quite fast, but comparatively quite slow. I hope it is clear to you students. For now, we will study this much, and in the next video we will talk about the lenses. Till then, have a nice day.